So visualization is going to be far more useful for something that's bigger, something that maybe is a future event where you want to get some clarity. And at this point in time, arguably it's difficult to have that absolute clarity and you don't know what the future is going to be. But your imagination is powerful enough, if you harness it correctly, to go, this is what I'd like the future to bring me. And that's all that visualization is about.
The question is, from Thinking Focus.
So the question is, how does visualization help goal defining? Hello, I'm Ricky from Thinking Focus.
Hi, I'm Rob Smith from Thinking Focus.
The question is, from Thinking Focus. A podcast about how our thinking impacts our results and what we can do about it.
How does visualization help goal defining? There's an easy answer to that. It helps a lot. But that's not necessarily what we're looking for here. It's not the most helpful thing. It's
what does it bring to the party? What does it help?
Well, the thing about it is, I think before you go down that route, as you think about where do I want to use visualization for in goal defining, right? Because some goals are quite clinical and quite straightforward.
Yeah,
targets, and it's
percentage increases.
Absolutely. So you've got something that's going to increase or decrease. You can measure it, you can count it, no problem whatsoever. So visualization is going to be far more useful for something that's bigger, something that maybe is a future event where you want to get some clarity about what that future event could look like, what you want it to look like, what you want to happen.
Sure.
And at this point in time, arguably it's difficult to have that absolute clarity because you're sort of like giving somebody a crystal ball and going, so tell me what the future holds then. And you don't know what the future is going to be. But your imagination is powerful enough, if you harness it correctly, to go, this is what I'd like the future to bring me. And that's all that visualization is about.
So it's where you might be a little bit fuzzy about what that future state might be that you're looking to get yourself in.
I don't know if you've ever been in the situation, but I certainly have been. Conversations you have with some people who, might talk to you about, when I retire, I'm going to do this. And you sort of think, do you know what? You're talking about something that is 15 years away, and yet you're talking about it with such great clarity. And so two things occur to me anyway. They must spend an awful lot of time thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
And secondly, they're probably quite motivated about what that's going to bring to them, which is giving them that level of clarity around the visualization piece.
But what you notice when they do that is there's an energy, there's an enthusiasm, there's almost a passion, particularly if it is something they've spent some time thinking about. Yeah. They've imagined being on that sun-drenched beach and the waves rolling up towards them, those sorts of things in that retirement state. Or it could be something completely different, walking in the hills or whatever it might be.
And it's interesting because there's two elements to that, because usually I find that people will give you an imagined future. They'll talk to you about what that imagination is telling them in two distinct, if you like, patterns or areas. The things that they're getting rid of that they no longer have to do, right? And the things that they're looking forward to doing. So visualization, again, is a really useful, from that point of view, it's really useful to pick that apart, to go, visualization must then have a couple of elements to it, one of which is clarity. The other is about knowing what it is you don't want to do as opposed to knowing what you do want to do, and using your imagination to build a picture of what that's going to look like for you. As an aside, sometimes I get a little bit concerned when somebody's getting so passionate about what they're going to do in 15 years' time when they've left work. And I'm going, well, I wonder, what are you going to do in the intervening 15 years' time? Are we missing out in the workplace right now on some of the energy and the passion, etc., that you're putting into your future plans? Are you currently doing that?
Are we forgetting about living in the now?
Yeah, absolutely. If only I could harness some of that and bring that.
So you're worried about the passion people have for the future.
Yeah.
But they kind of forget about the now.
Yeah. Well, and I find myself wanting to ask questions about, and are you harnessing that for today? Don't lose that, So, and part of it is, and it's interesting, because if they are looking forward with so much energy and enthusiasm and imagination to something else that they want to do, does that necessarily mean that what they're currently doing is making them unhappy? And that might not be the case, but there must be there's some avoidance going on about, I can't wait to stop doing what I'm doing now to be able to do what I'm planning to do in the future. And so could we bring, and the reason that I put that aside in there, could we bring some of that visualization and use of the imagination into the here and now? And I think we could.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think you use the term clarity, and I think from our perspective, when we work with senior teams in particular, these guys often see the future.
Right.
They can imagine what it's like. They spend a lot of time thinking about it.
Yeah.
The skill is, how do they bring that image, that visualization of the future to life so they can bring that passion and energy into taking the rest of the team with them on that journey?
Absolutely. So one of the skills that leaders are supposed to have, isn't it, is storytelling.
Sure.
And being able to actually, the argument has to run that you have to have that passion yourself, and it has to be real for you to be able to then have any hope of explaining that to other people in such a way that you're going to bring them along with you on the same journey.
Well, there was that famous Walt Disney quote, wasn't there, where his son was questioned about, wasn't it a shame that Walt Disney never got to see the Magic Kingdom? And actually his son replied, Walt saw it first.
Yeah.
Because he imagined it, he'd visualized it in great clarity.
Right.
Picture perfect imagery that was enabled everybody then to get clear about what was expected.
Yeah.
So that's probably a great example of visualization in play.
So, and if we bring that back to the question that we originally asked, it was about, so how can we use this for goal defining? So did the Magic Kingdom get designed and built in exactly the same way that Walt imagined it? I can only guess that the answer to that is yes, because if you've got that level of clarity about something, then that's going to help you to be really clear about the thing that it is you want to achieve, the goal that you want to define. This is where the use of visualization, as we're talking about, imagination, getting that clarity, having the ability to take your mind to a place where you go, I can absolutely specifically put these things in this place on that date for this reason, these people using it, this is how it's going to look, sound, so that, I've got so much clarity about it that I can, with some confidence, write a goal down or define a goal for myself that goes on this certain day in the future, right? Whether that's 5 years out, 10 years out, 15 years out, this is going to happen. And you're sort of then almost filling in the gaps in between time, aren't you? To get to that point, we're going to have to do X and Y. Yeah.
But I think one of the real values of visualization is that it brings your subconscious into play.
Right.
And of course, your subconscious doesn't know whether it's fact or fiction.
Yeah.
So you're really focused on what it is you want, whether or not that's real or not.
Sure.
So the power of your subconscious will play out. And actually then, as Walt would have done, imagine something, what we know today is just huge in terms of scale and perfection in terms of how those things operate.
Yeah. So how can visualization help us with goal defining? By giving us a level of clarity, by helping us to turn off maybe some of the rational, scientific, specific thoughts and tapping into, well, what do I really want? What might it look like? Being able to imagine something that at the moment just doesn't even exist. Because then if you've got that level of clarity, you can start working towards attempting to achieve it.
And I think for leaders, as we talked about, enables people to connect really more powerfully with that future state because you can bring it to life. Pictures speak far greater than words. We all know that.
Yeah.
So how, as leaders, can we really harness that visualization of the future, whether it be 5 years, 10 years, whatever it might be, in order to help take your team on that journey with you?
And I think part of that will be, and you will have done some of this work, I'm sure, with teams as I have, is you may very well have a future state that's described to you. Maybe it's a goal. Maybe there's that level of clarity, but then to harness the rest of the team's imagination is to go, and what do you think it might look like? Add to the picture.
How much more powerful would that be?
Yeah. You sit down, you help me. If we're going to go to that end point, what might it look like? What might we be doing?
So almost you sketch it out and let them do the colouring in.
Yeah.
What a level of connection, energy, enthusiasm that will emerge through that process.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
Next time on The Question Is.
But the thing for me, the most powerful bit is about ownership. If I own the how, I understand what you want from me, but I own the how, I'm more likely to approach that with energy, enthusiasm and passion.
To find out how Thinking Focus can unlock the potential within your organisation, go to www.thinkingfocus.com, where you'll discover more about the work we do, helping our clients increase productivity and enable change.